Show. Today we're live in the KHTS studio in beautiful downtown Newhall, California. I'm hanging out with my lovely co-host Ellen Tunick. Welcome, welcome back from an awesome weekend in the training room with teenagers.
Amazing.
How was that experience for you?
It was such a wonderful experience for me. I believe I received as much as they did. I tried to go in with no expectations. I was nervous going in because I'd never done anything like that before. Wanted to do it right, whatever that looks like or means. And Tony, one of the other trainers, kind of looked at me and said, "Get off of that. It is what it is, and just go with the flow." I learned so much about the kids today. My kids are all older. My grandkids are older. This is a little different community, but this is the community that needs our assistance, needs some guidance, needs some new ways of thinking. They walked in, each and every one of them walked in with this face, this puss face, I don't want to be here. My mom made me be here. And I immediately went to the place that said, whoa, this is going to be very challenging because they are not open. However, as we moved through the exercises, as the first person broke down and cried, as the first child admits to pain, everybody kind of was like, oh, okay. It became a safe place, and you could see them, just breathing and starting to open up and tap into places that I'm assuming they haven't tapped into in a very long time. And then by the time they left, they're like smiling, they're high-fiving, they're hugging, they're kissing. So that in my head I stood back and said, I just saw transformation.
Yeah, it's amazing when you give yourself permission to validate people, right? Like our kids, to just believe in them more than they believe in themselves and then express it outward as though it is so. A little bit at a time, they start to believe it, or they want to believe it, or their soul yearns to be recognized as that mighty champion, and then they respond. And so that's what I love about the training room, is because we get to get in there and fight for their greatness, and they get to let go of all of their limitations a little bit at a time. And is it a battle? I see the first day as a battle, but once you chip away, the beauty that gets reborn out of that final 24 hours is just a beautiful process.
Oh, it really is.
Yeah, and we can sit here and talk about it for days.
For days.
But I'm so grateful to be a part of that experience and have you be a part of it. It was so amazing.
It was joyous.
Yeah, thank you so much for that. I appreciate it. So today's show, we're going to be talking about getting off it versus getting stuck on it. And so if you don't know what that means, I'm sure most of you have an idea of what that means, but we're going to talk about it and kind of crack it open and really discuss, why we do these things and how do we get stuck on things, and then how do we train ourselves or practice the art of getting off of things. So what does that mean? Getting off it versus getting stuck on it. Let's first start with getting stuck on it. Getting stuck on it means that some of us get stuck on things like our current state of circumstances, and the emotions that are tied to those circumstances. So what I mean by that is sometimes things will happen to us in our lives, and we can get stuck on it in this psychological resistance to not wanting it or wondering why it's happening. We go to the why me, and we could literally go down this road of not wanting something that is happening currently in our life to where we just get stuck on it in that resistance of not wanting to allow something to be what it is. And then there are some of us who has developed this way about us that can allow things to happen, accept that it is happening at that current moment, and then choose to let it go or to get off of it. So that's the distinction between getting stuck on something versus deciding to get off of something. And I got to tell you that once you learn how to get yourself off of something, where you're not resisting it anymore and you're allowing it to happen, unfold in front of you, the greatest feeling is learning how to embrace it, dance with it, and then spin it off into
ta-ta.
until, yeah, like I'm done with you, right? What an amazing feeling that is when you are in control of that way of being.
Yes. I struggle with this every single
Great.
day.
Then this is a great conversation
Yes,
to be
it
having.
is. It's timely, actually.
Yeah. So then when you think about getting stuck on something, tell me what it feels like when you get stuck on something, and then let's go down that road.
Okay. When I get stuck on something, it's usually an emotion that has occurred from, maybe a conversation, something as simple as a text, something as simple as not receiving a text back, which we've discussed before. And then I get stuck on the emotion that feels for me. And I try and figure out why I feel the way I do, what actually transpired that triggered that emotion. I get stuck in that.
All right. So as you're painting that picture, what I'm visualizing is that when something happens in your life, you go into this state of psychoanalyzing why something's happening. And psychoanalyzing is different than just checking in with yourself, asking yourself one or two questions to get clarity about why it could possibly be happening, and then getting your answer or coming up with an answer and then letting that be just what it is.
Yeah.
But you can very easily go down this road of what ifs and making up stories.
And the whys, well, if I had done it this way, maybe I shouldn't have done that at all. Yeah.
Yeah. So as you go down this road of constantly psychoanalyzing whatever circumstance or current situation you're in your life, instead of framing it in a specific way that allows whatever's happening to just be happening without all the stories you're making up about it, right? Or even the resistance to not wanting it to be so is huge for a lot of people.
Yes.
Just you deciding that whatever's happening is supposed to be happening. And the way that I know that is because it's happening. So here's an example. You're stuck on the freeway, bumper to bumper traffic. We have backstage passes to your favorite concert artist, whoever it is, and you can't make it. And so you're calling me really upset because you can't be there. And I say to you, Ellen, relax. You're supposed to be stuck in traffic right now. And in your mind, you're thinking, what do you mean I'm supposed to be?
About?
No, I'm supposed to be
at
the concert. And I say to you, no. How do I know for a fact that you're supposed to be stuck in traffic right now? Without me guessing or any other way, what's the plain and simple fact that I know that you're supposed to be stuck in traffic in that moment?
Because I am.
Because you are. Most human beings don't realize that whatever's happening is happening because it's supposed to happen. And how do you know? Because it's actually happening. So what we do is we tell ourselves, but Alex, I don't want it to be happening, which is the process of you being in resistance to whatever's happening shouldn't be happening. Or I don't want it to happen. That's the psychological resistance as human beings we go into.
Or why did I do something in the first place?
Yeah, but it's all psychologically, right, in your mind, being in resistance to it being just the way it is. And so for those of us that can train ourselves to accept that what is happening is supposed to be happening, how do I know it? Because it is. Then we can free ourselves up to allow it to unfold organically so that it runs its course and then moves on its way onto what's next. So, for example, if I'm sitting in that, traffic, and I want to be at that concert, and you call me up, and you're having a hard time with me not being at the concert because you think I'm supposed to be at the concert.
So it could flip either way.
And and I'm telling you, Ellen, based on
all
results, I'm not supposed to be there. Guess where I'm supposed to be? And then your response is
right where you are.
right where I'm at, because it's the only place I can be. You can only be where you are at any given moment. You can't be somewhere else. Or guess what? If you could,
You would.
you would.
Yeah.
But you can't. So learn how to be wherever you are, even if circumstances are happening or falling on your lap that you don't want, that
make me
aren't
uncomfortable.
that make you nervous, fear comes up, whatever's happening is.
And then I start projecting.
That's right. So you have to learn how to embrace whatever's happening in that moment, and then once you embrace it, you got to learn how to dance with it. And while you're dancing with it, at a certain point, you surrender it, you let it go, you get off of it.
Because nothing horrible ever really happens. I mean, but in my head, I project what maybe somebody else is thinking, and I created that scenario, and now I have this vision of, you know, what this person is feeling and thinking. And I know as I sit here now, you know, that no, that's a story. None of that is real.
Well, it's real to you because you're making it real.
Because I'm making it real. And this, it's so fascinating because after the seminar, the teen thing this weekend, I felt incredibly present in that moment. And when I get really present, I tend not to project, and I tend not to, you know, imagine or make up stories. I just stay present.
Isn't that amazing?
It is.
And this is what I coach people, is to how to be present in the moment. Because if you're truly present in the moment, the brain's not working.
Overtime and crazy.
The brain's not making up stories if you're truly 100% present in that moment. The brain isn't generating fear if you're currently present in the moment. So allowing yourself to be fully present in the moment, it's almost like your spirit is with you in the moment, but your brain, you know, hashtag your ego, is not activated and currently with you in the moment. So in the moment, you're just pure love, you're pure neutral, you're purely open, you're compassionate, you're all of the inner qualities that are tremendously great about you when you're present in those moments. And no fear is really being projected in there because your brain is shut off. It's not until in that moment you go, oh my God, and you have a thought. Now you go to your brain, and your brain starts going, oh, thank you for coming back to us. Here's all the worries and the concerns and the fear that we're worried about. And then now that taints that present moment.
Well, I actually, because I wanted very much to be present this weekend. And I remember sitting in my car about to go in, and I remember I said to myself, and by the way, ego, you are not invited.
Nice. I like that.
And I got out of the car and I walked in.
I love that. It's funny because one of my trainings, I believe it's the Superwoman workshop, I have a sign I put on the door at registration. And before you walk in the training room, there's this big sign that says, leave your ego out here in the hallway.
Right.
Like, don't bring it in the
Check
training room. Yeah, because your ego is going to get squashed in the training room. And I might ask you to, every once in a while, to go back outside, have a moment with your ego, set it down in a little chair, and then come back in with your heart.
Oh, that's funny.
And come back in with your spirit, and come back in with your trust and your honesty and your authenticity. And let's just get in there and do some work. One of the things that Andrew and I were having a discussion about when it comes to getting off it versus getting stuck on it is that some people that don't know how to get off of things really quick, for those people that have learned how to get off of it really fast, they're really confused. And so here's an example. Let's say you and I are having a discussion, and you're sharing with me something that is devastating to you, and you share that news with me, and as I hear it, I feel the compassion, I feel the heartbreak, and then after I'm done experiencing that, I let it go so that I can free myself up to find a solution or support you. And because you're not off of it yet and you're wondering why I am, you're now questioning whether I even care or not. And so quite often people that can get off of things really quick, they get blamed for not caring or not having a heart or not loving them or not, right? Yeah. Is that not correct?
Yes, we did have that situation.
Yeah.
But, the other thing that is so great is that when you understand that and somebody explains that scenario to you, that in itself is very freeing.
But that's the first state of awareness.
Yes.
Because prior to that, you have no idea that could be possible. You have no idea that there are some people that can be on things and off things really quick. And you in your own accord have been making up this story in your head that because they don't stay on it long enough,
right, they don't care.
That they don't care, or that it's not important to them. And that might not necessarily be real. It's just something that because it matters to you and you want to hang on and sit in it or process it a little bit longer, that doesn't necessarily mean that they don't care or it doesn't matter to them. And so I think the discussion we were talking about really started off with, we were having a discussion about analytical people versus heartfelt people. And heartfelt people, we can linger on and hang on to some of these emotions and swim around it and talk about it and really kind of process it out loud and share with someone else and bounce it off of them so that once it makes sense to us, then we can let it go. Meanwhile, analytical people, they just feel it for a few minutes and they can feel it and then just decide, okay, I'm done with it.
Yeah.
And they just let it go. And so that's how the conversation really sparked this topic was, the heartfelt people versus more analytical people and the differences between getting off of things or getting stuck on them.
Can't there be like a balance between those two?
There is a balance.
Yeah.
However, the heartfelt people have to slide to the center and the analyticals have to slide to the center. And there's that dance in between what's healthy.
Yes.
Because it's not healthy for a heartfelt person to still be stuck on stuff and feeling those feelings and feel it for a lifetime.
Right.
And it's not healthy for the analyzer to get off of things too soon and not fully feel them and stuff it to where now they're emotionally suppressed. So those are the two ends of the spectrum. And so the healthy part is, how do I get in the middle, feel my feelings so that I let it run its course and make sense of it and those feelings there to remind me that I am human and I do care and I am loving. I grab the little golden nugget from it and then I let it go.
God,
so
that's like nirvana.
There's that middle area, yeah. But that's what all of life is where's that area of balance? Yeah. How do I get myself to the center? The center is where you're balanced. The center is where you're not too much of something, you're not too little of something, but you're right in the middle there dancing on both sides so that it's in a healthy way.
And it's really hard sometimes when you're in the...
It's not hard if you decide that it's hard.
What I work with is...
You like how I course correct that?
Blah, 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 blah.
How do you like getting called out on the radio?
I love it. It's real. What I work real hard at is trying to recognize in myself when the emotion has run its course.
Beautiful. And the more aware you are of where that line is and where that balance is in the center, you're going to get better at it. Yeah. It's the people that either have never been taught or no one has showed them that possibility, or they don't really want to look at it because it's not important to them, or they're just totally unaware that they don't have the option to choose how to slide down in the middle. That's why self-awareness is so important in our development and evolving as human beings and mastering our own state of mind and our own peace and joy and happiness and all those good stuff. All right, we got to take a short break. When we come back, we're going to take it to a whole nother level right here on your hometown station, KHTS.
Little Eye Leaders is the newest preschool in the Santa Clarita Valley. At Little Eye Leaders, our outstanding teachers lead with intellect, perspective, and heart. That means our programs provide a warm, nurturing atmosphere to meet the unique needs of each child. We believe that play is a powerful form of learning for young children. That's why our kids have every opportunity to learn through the magic and excitement of play. Parents, schedule a tour today by calling 303-0400 or online at littleeyeleaders.org.
Men, are you feeling tired, stressed, or just don't have the energy you used to? Did you know this could be related to decreased testosterone levels? Luckily, there's a safe, effective solution. Weeder Prime helps support healthy testosterone levels with clinically tested key ingredients. Just 2 capsules of Weeder Prime each day can help change your mood, energy, focus, body fat, and lean muscle. Feel the way you felt 10, 20, even 30 years ago. Rediscover your Prime with Weeder Prime. To find a retailer near you, visit WeederPrime.com. That's WEIDER Prime.com.
Marston's Restaurant has been a Pasadena landmark, voted the best breakfast in California by the Food Network magazine. Discover Marston's Santa Clarita location, open for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Marston's also has a fantastic catering menu that adds a delicious twist to any event. And they cater picnic dinners for that memorable romantic date. Experience Marston's on Newhall Ranch Road and McBean, or log on to marstonsrestaurant.com.
Are you at least 55 and have a torn irreparable rotator cuff? If so, you may qualify for a no-cost clinical study of an investigational shoulder implant. Visit rotatorcuffstudy.com. Learn more about the study being conducted at Southern California Orthopedic Institute's Valencia Clinic at rotatorcuffstudy.com. See video of the device and get more information on how to enroll at rotatorcuffstudy.com.
That's rotatorcuffstudy.com, rotatorcuffstudy.com.
Sponsored by Micro Air Surgical Instruments.
They've been making us dance since the 60s.
Whenever you call me, I'll be there.
The Motown greats, the Spinners, coming to the Canyon Club Agura, Saturday, March 9th.
Whenever you need me, I'll keep working my way back to you, babe. With a
The Spinners, performing classic hits from the 60s, 70s, and 80s. The Spinners, and featuring Santa Clarita's own Savannah Burrows.
Maybe with someone else, I'll spend my time with. Maybe
Savannah Burrows and The Spinners.
I'll fall right in love with what would say.
The Spinners and Savannah Burrows, Saturday, March 9th at the Canyon Club Agura. Tickets at Ticketmaster.
Hometown, your hometown station.
And welcome back to the Alex Urbina radio show. I'm your host, hanging out with Ellen Tunick and Andrew Delgado, our board op producer. We've been talking the first half about getting off of things, right? The current circumstances and possibly the emotions that you get stuck on versus being stuck on your current circumstances, the state that you're in, and even the emotions. And then we kind of transition into a topic about people that don't understand the human beings, that have learned how to feel the feelings, experience the takeaways, and then get off of things quickly. And Andrew, we had this discussion a little earlier today. Do you have experience with that?
I have the exact experience you said. A lot of people, well, not a lot of people, but most people tell me that get comfortable, say, what's wrong with you? Why don't you never get mad, or you kind of just even keel the whole way through? I'm like, yes, of course I get mad. I get frustrated, upset, angry, and I show it, but most of the time I don't. And they're like, what? Why? I'm like, but why show it? I'm just taking it in, and then, okay, now how it happened, I can't not make it not happen again because it already did. And where do I go from here? Like, now what? And then I do that and then get off of it, and then I'm off of it. But then people say, it seems like you don't care, because either when other people are angry or frustrated, they either act out or are upset. They're stuck in it the whole day and want, the loves company.
Yeah.
And I don't allow that to happen. I'm like, okay, that's you right now. They're like, be angry with me. They're not saying it, but their body language is saying, be angry with me. I'm like, I'm not going to be angry with you. I'll listen to you, and I'll give you advice if you'd like it. But
I'm not going to choose to jump in there.
I'm not going to be angry and negative. Who wants to be like that? So I'm like, okay, just get off of it. And people mistake that as I don't care or I can't feel what they're feeling. I'm like, yeah, but I'm not just going to be stuck in it and just waste my time being angry or upset or just curl up in a ball. I'm not going to do it.
Well, yeah, and then isolate yourself and
and so people mistake that as not caring, and I'm like, no, it's just I just get off of it fairly quickly.
I can totally see why people feel like that, because up until recently, that's exactly my experience. It's like, well, why aren't you crying? I'm crying. And, I've got another 15, 20 minutes to cry and do this. So why are you looking at me? And, you now have a happy smile on your face and you're moving forward and you've left me in this scenario. It's like, come on, we haven't fixed this yet.
So let me talk to the people that are listening that have identified, yeah, that's me. I do that. I'm wondering why my husband can move off of things really quickly, or I'm wondering why my wife doesn't hang out with me and stay a little longer in the pity party or the angry part, and why do they get off of it so quick, or how can they get off of it so quick? So I want you to be open to the possibility that the way that they frame it in their mind, with their ability to perceive it in a specific way, they have some tools that they've developed or enhanced in perceiving it as, right? Here's one version. One tool is called "It Is What It Is." So as you were talking, Andrew, you were basically saying is, I've trained myself to see things as what they are. So if it's a certain scenario that is not favorable for you or us, it is what it is. So what? Now what? Now what is, let's find a solution. So that person now sees it as the problem that it is, as the roadblock that fell out of the sky, the one thing that happened that was a red flag that I ignored. It's here now. So now what does it mean to me? It means that I have to now course correct or find a different way around it or a new solution. So I've already moved on to now let's figure out how to fix it. Where some people don't go through that process as quickly as other people.
Or then, if they ever do.
If they ever do. Some people get stuck on it, like we were talking about earlier on. Now if you're one of the ones that gets stuck, instead of being upset or angry at the person because they're not where you're at, or instead of making up stories that they don't care because they don't deal with it the same way you do, why don't you try to look at that and go, I admire that quality about you, that you felt the disheartedness, you felt the brokenhearted, you felt the frustration in that moment, and then you chose to get off it quickly to now transition into finding a solution. I want to be like that. So instead of seeing that and being upset, why don't you see that kind of quality and go, I like that you're modeling that for me, because now you're letting me know that that's possible even for me. Now, how do I figure out how to get myself to that state? What do I need to learn? What kind of tools do I need to develop so I'm able to see that, frame it that way, so that I can getting myself out of being stuck in so many multiple situations of circumstances that I like to hang out in and have those pity parties?
Well, I definitely am thinking differently as it's happening, where, years before, I would just wallow in it. I don't wallow in it now. I kind of know that it's going on, but I have to still reframe it. And I can also say to myself, I can come back and visit this, but I'm not going to do that right now. That would be very helpful to me. It's like, I feel like this in this situation, but I'm not gonna go there right now. I'm gonna let it go wait 3 days and do nothing, and then I can come back and visit it again.
I like that. You're giving yourself like a timeout.
Yeah.
A timeout gives you the ability to let the emotion run its course so that you're not choosing from the emotion, and it allows yourself to get into a new moment. And sometimes you get into a new moment, you have new clarity, and then you can decide and make choices from that new state of being clearer than you were 5 minutes ago, an hour ago, in that anger and that frustration. You know, they always tell you that you should, you know, like when you think about when family members pass, right? And you're in a state of shock and heartbreak and feeling the pain, and then there might be some anger that comes up, and you're going through all these different emotions. They tell you you should make any big decisions for the next 90 days.
Right.
And there's a reason for that, because you're not thinking clearly. You have some emotional charge in your thought process, and then you don't want to make decisions from that place because they're not coming from a clean, powerful place. And if you think about that when it comes to people that pass in our life, that happens to be a traumatic moment for us, take that in every little situation as, in that moment, I'm having a little mini traumatic experience.
Right.
So let's not, sometimes we got to go, okay, I'm not going to respond to this text because I'm really heated right now. Let me take a time out. Let me breathe. Let an hour go by. Heck, let 5 minutes go by.
Let a day go by.
Sometimes we don't put our emotions on pause, allow ourselves to feel the feelings, get out of it, and then I'm going to respond on the other side of what I'm feeling right now.
Yes.
And a lot of times if we do that and we train ourselves to do that, when you get yourself out of those emotions, you now can have a clear head, and then a lot of times your response is a little bit more powerful, a little more clear, and is coming from a clean place rather than a reactive, angry place. Right? Don't we sometimes in our anger or in our we sometimes we just with our mouth we just yell out something
like knee-jerk
hateful.
reaction.
Yeah, we say hateful things sometimes when we're reactive like that and we're angry. We have to learn how to go, I'm not going to say anything right now because I'm going to say something that I don't really mean. I'm going to say something that I regret.
And I was going to say, and that you can't take back. Because, you know, we have a saying in our family, wait 3 days and do nothing. If anybody's having a really emotional experience and they want to, you know, they want to work on it, and we all look at each other and go, take a breath, wait 3 days and do nothing.
I love that. Now, imagine getting to the state where you go from taking 3 days
to taking
3 hours.
Yeah.
And then from 3 hours to 3 minutes. And then from 3 minutes to 3 moments.
Ugh.
How would you, if you went to 3 moments, people would really, in their mind, decide that you have no heart, you don't care about anything, you're emotionless because you don't show your emotions and hang around in it long enough and swim around in the pity party and the victimization with me long enough to validate that, okay, you do care because you hung out with me and validated that poor me.
Right.
That this is happening to me. So now you've identified that you're my friend because you swum around in the victim pool with me for hours or days or weeks. So you validated it. You're my friend. You got my back. My friends, they don't hang out with me in no pity parties. They don't hang out in victim mode.
They're not going to get it.
No, they walk away from me. And you know what they tell me? When you're done feeling sorry for yourself, when you're done being the victim, when you're done blaming other people, call me and I want to talk to that guy. The powerful version of you, Alex, the guy who doesn't blame others, is willing to take responsibility for the part you might have played in it. And when you want to find a solution, I'll be there to support you in that. Those are my real friends.
Yes.
Not the friends that'll sit there and
poor Alex.
Yeah, pat me on the back and validate my victimhood and spend one more minute longer than we should. Yeah, when it becomes unhealthy.
Yeah.
It's okay to be in it because we're human. We have to feel our feelings. But the question is how long is too long? How long do I sit in my misery and pain for?
Well, and I think for myself, the longer I sit in it, the worse it gets. Because then I get to make up more stories and I get to project more. So there is no real value for me in in sitting in it for a long period of time, because then it gets really mucky.
So let's talk about, I'm glad that you decided for yourself that there's no value in sitting in being stuck on all of your circumstances and your icky feelings and all those kinds of things. But let's talk about the possibility of why then do most people get stuck in it. And so what I'm going to do is open up a possibility that most people get stuck in that icky place because there's a payoff for them. What is a payoff? Can you describe a payoff for me?
Well, something that makes you feel good on some level, even if it's a negative thing, it's still good because somebody's recognizing.
That's right. So you just said one: recognition, attention, pity, sorrow.
Me.
Yeah, but all of those goodies that you receive from others being there for you, patting you in the back, we get the attention. We get somebody to feel sorry for us. We get the pity from others. Those, in case you didn't know that, are interpersonal addictions that a lot of us have, that we don't know we have them. And so because we don't know, we're addicted to them, and it keeps us stuck in our stuff for too long because we're getting those validations. We're getting all of those payoffs.
So let me ask you a question. What about those who suffer or go through this or stay in the muck silently and privately and don't put it out there? They just do it in their head.
So what do you think the payoff they're getting?
I don't know.
Well, they get to be a martyr, whether somebody's
the victim.
Whether somebody's validating it out external or they're validating it for themselves. Sometimes we forget we're in our relationship with ourselves.
Thank you.
So just because you don't outwardly go, oh my God, poor me, hey, guess what happened today?
Right.
And then have all 20 of our friends externally give us those payoffs. We could be the biggest racketeer inside our own mind and paying ourselves off under the table and not realize it.
Bingo.
Yeah. And you'd have to decide those payoffs is what keeps me stuck in this life that has no flavor. Those payoffs, those psychological payoffs that I get every time that I'm whiny, complaining, victim, telling that same story over and over again to get the sympathy, to get the attention, to get the payoff. I'll never forget the first time one of my coaches pointed this out to me. I was about 24, 25 years old, and it blew me away. It knocked my socks off the first time I had somebody that cared about me enough that was able to see my racket and said to me, Alex, why do you keep complaining to the whole group? I see you walking around telling your same sad story to everybody. Aren't you done with getting your payoffs? And I, right? Yeah.
Whoa.
See the look on your face? And I looked over at her. It was a her. And I went, wow, that's got to be one of the most courageous, bold gifts that anyone has ever given me.
Wow.
Now that was only because I was at that time open for the feedback, and I knew she loved me. I knew she was on my team and wouldn't have said that if it wasn't intended to help me see something to grow from. But imagine somebody pointing that out to you that you're not sure if they're on your team. It can sting and it hurts.
Yeah.
But it wasn't until she was willing to take that gut shot at me that really stung, where I just went, wow, I never saw that before. I never realized that every time that I'm complaining and whining more than maybe twice,
yeah,
that after that point, I'm really looking for some kind of a payoff, some kind of a validation that's, yeah, you're right, Alex. I can't believe they did that to you. Now you're just validating that I'm the victim to so-and-so.
Right.
You
and
follow?
The story continues.
Yeah, absolutely. The story not only continues, it gets reaffirmed at a higher level. Now I have proof. See, even Jennifer, even Tom, even Michael, even...
You make your list.
That's right. I have my pity committee of people that have validated that I am the victim. I'm right here, and so wronged me. And look, they're all behind me. They validated me because all I had to do was complain long enough that
for them to see the light.
That's
with
right.
Me.
That's
yeah.
for them to agree with me. Meanwhile, the pity committee are not really my friends. My friends are over there sitting in the corner going, hey, buddy, when you're done with your pity committee stuff, come over here.
Yeah.
So when I come over, I go, what? And they go, no. You get to look at how to take accountability and responsibility to some degree. You don't have to own all of it, but own the part that you played in this scenario. And then what I get to do is sit down with them, and they get to point out the part that I played. So I get to own up to, well, I guess the part that I played is I didn't say something when I saw the first warning sign. Or I was afraid to say something because of the fear of rejection. Or I was afraid to confront them or stand up for myself because I have a fear of confrontation. Right? Like if I literally sat there and looked from the responsible version, then I can own all of my own limitations that got in the way. From that place, I'm powerful because I can change it. Over here in the pity committee, as the victim, I can't change it because I've decided that someone else did this to me.
Right. And I have no power.
And I can't change it if you've done it to me.
Yeah, it's very freeing when you can actually recognize your role in it.
To some degree, and I'm not because some people will, because the phone will be ringing off the hook to go, Alex, I have this scenario, and what do you do when and everyone's gonna throw these scenarios at me, and all I'm saying is I'm not telling you to own all of it. I'm asking you to own the part that you played in it, even if it's a tiny part.
To identify that.
To identify who weren't you being in the scenario, who were you being in the scenario, what did you do, what didn't you do. I mean, look at it from all angles, and I'm guarantee you can find 3 or 4 golden nuggets that show that you could have caused a different result because of something you did do, didn't do, who you were being, weren't being, and so forth and so forth. We got to take another break. When we come back, we're going to wrap the show up. Stay tuned for more of the Alex Urbina radio show right here on your hometown station, KHTS.
Santa Clarita, bedbugs are taking over our city. They've invaded our homes, our businesses, and most importantly, our sleep. If you have suspicious bites that appear nightly, or have a bug that you need ID'd, your best option is to make one call to All Pro. We offer a 100% guarantee that your bedbug issues will be solved with heat in one treatment. No need to tent or spray your house with chemicals. Heat is all you need. Call 661-298-2200 or text me a bug picture to 661-645-0540. It's time to sleep tight again, SCV.
Comfort Keepers provides your loved one with loving in-home care.
Miles McNamara, certified senior advisor and owner of Comfort Keepers in-home care.
Our caregivers can help you in your own home, enhancing independence, creating safety and comfort. Our Comfort Keepers provide companionship, meal preparation, medication reminders, assistance with personal care, and even transportation to doctor's appointments. If someone you love can use a helping hand at home, visit comfortkeepers.com.
Or call 287-4200.
The Art Gallery of Santa Clarita Artists Association, located in downtown Newhall on 6th Street between Railroad and Main, features local members' original artwork with changing exhibits every 2 months. Purchase affordable art for your home or as gifts. Open Friday through Sunday or by appointment. Artists wishing to join the SCAA can visit santaclaritaartist.org, come to our free monthly meetings at Barnes & Noble, or stop by the gallery. For upcoming shows, check us out at santaclaritaartist.org. We make visual art visible.
Kyle, guess what's coming up?
It's the KHTS Home and Garden Show at Emergency Expo.
April 27th and 28th at Central Park.
Free admission.
Over one weekend, over 20,000 homeowners, Santa Clarita homeowners, visit this every single year.
It's one of the biggest home shows in not just Southern California, but California.
My favorite is the marketplace.
It's local craft stuff. It's awesome.
A lot of activities for the kids. They've got the petting zoo, pony rides. But if you want to be a part of this, there is always room for your business.
That's true. And this is an opportunity that is like no other. You're going to get, like you just said, about 20,000 people over the weekend to come and check out your business. So there's still vendor opportunities available.
That's the only question I have. If a vendor is listening right now and they say to themselves, that's what I want to be a part of, now what?
You can call 298-1220, 298-1220, or go to scvhomeshow.com.
Your hometown station. KHTS.
And welcome back to the Alex Urbina radio show. Today we have been talking about getting off of it, right? Whatever it is, versus getting stuck in it. So what is it? The it that we're getting stuck on, stuck in, or the it that we're choosing to get off of? What is it?
It for me is getting stuck on my own self, in not a positive way. It's like getting stuck on an emotion, and I can't back up and see it clearly enough to say, okay, I own this part. It happened. I did that, or I said that. I'm going to take this, I'm going to learn from it, or I'm going to come back and revisit it. But, I'm now done with that.
All right. Now, you've heard me earlier talk about, I use this R word called resistance.
Yes.
So can it be the resistance that you have for anything that you currently don't want to be so?
Yes.
So anything that's happening currently in your life, any circumstance, any situation, any result that has shown itself in your life in that current moment, if you have a resistance to it not being so, not wanting it, not wondering why it's there, right? The psychological resistance to it taking place in the first place is part of you not being able to get off of it.
Yes.
And that resistance, it almost like pulls you into it, and then you become,
keeps you there.
You're swimming in it.
Yeah. And again, like I said at the very beginning, for me, 90% of my resistance is from an emotion that I feel.
Got it. Now, so if you're sitting here watching or listening to the show, and you're like, all right, how do I get myself to transition from getting stuck in it into learning how to get off of it? You have to practice letting go of the resistance in your life, all of your resistance.
That's big.
Yes, but it's a conscious awareness every day, all day long, minute to minute, moment to moment, noticing the things that you're in resistance to. And you will be amazed. If you just practice this for 7 days and notice all the things that you're in resistance to, it'll blow you away.
I can't even imagine. I mean, the list is
endless. Anything that you have a negative emotion towards, you're probably in resistance to it. So here's an example. Name something that annoys you.
When my husband spills coffee on the floor and doesn't wipe it up.
Okay, so are you in resistance to him not cleaning up after himself?
Yes.
Yeah, see?
Yes.
Let's take, how about you get in the car and your seatbelt dings and it rings over and over and it's annoying. It's annoying to you that bing, bing, you're driving, bing,
right.
Bing. That annoying has you be in resistance to what?
The sound.
The constant repetitive sound of
the sound.
Bing,
and
bing,
that's so funny
bing.
Because I live right up the street from my daughter. And so a lot of times it's like 15, 20 houses. I don't want to put my seatbelt on. Ding, ding, ding. So I end up putting it on when I really just want to just drive up the street.
So in those little moments, practice not being in resistance to the constant dinging in your car, whether it's up the street or around 5 blocks or a whole trip, the 2-hour trip, just to train yourself to learn how to allow things to be what they are without being in resistance to them, so they become what's called annoying to you. Or anything that gets you upset, what could you be in resistance to?
Just to ask that question.
Whatever is happening that it caused you to be upset, there's a part of you that's in resistance to that thing happening the way it happened.
Yes.
Otherwise, you wouldn't be upset about it.
Or annoyed.
And can you be upset at it for 2 or 3 minutes and then choose to get off of it? Absolutely, you can. The problem is that we haven't practiced this because either no one has taught you, you haven't learned it, you're unaware of it, it's too hard for you. You know, right? We can go on and on about all the ways that stop you from practicing this art form. It's an art form that
really
conscious
is.
people choose to practice because it works when you practice it long enough. And so one of the things that we were having a discussion with Andrew this morning is like, man, I've been listening to your shows probably 5-7 years now and learning and reframing my mind to understand some of these leadership distinctions. Like I can't control things that are outside of me, right? So that helps him frame stuff.
That's
that
huge.
doesn't let him try to get in there and try to control
And
stuff
fix,
that he
fix.
can't control.
Right.
So that cognitive therapeutic model helps him frame it in a way that frees him up from now going in that muckety muck with you, and then you're wondering why he doesn't feeling like that, and then questioning whether he actually cares or not. So just because we don't get in the muck with you and are patting you in the back and agreeing with you as the victim doesn't mean that we don't care. It just means that we framed it in a certain way that sets us up to be free from not allowing those things to tag us, where we let our emotions go, and now I'm upset, and now I'm angry. Now both of us are there.
Right. And
nothing's
going to come out of that.
And that's the start of a pity party.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's the pity party I was talking about. We start with 2, and then we call up our girlfriends to go, hey, guess what?
Oh, my gosh.
You're not going to believe what she said to me. She said da-da-da. And for you know what? There's this phone tree. Now I have 7 pity party members on my tribe, all going to bat for me to go, yeah, that was wrong. That shouldn't have happened. Da-da-da. And now I'm just collecting all this evidence to prove that I am what? That I'm right.
Yes.
That so and so shouldn't have done that to me, and because I have all the people that agree that was wrong of her.
I think the greatest nugget for me is it's a gift to get off it.
It is a gift to yourself.
Yes.
So why don't you give it to yourself more often?
I will.
I know you will. That's all the time we have. The good news is we are live right here every Friday at noon. You can also follow me on Facebook at Coach Alex Urbina. I'm also on Instagram and YouTube. Thanks for joining us on the Alex Urbina Radio Show right here in your hometown station, KHTS.